Here we all are. We're very excited. We're very pumped. We're fired up for another edition of Barn Burner. There's Rhett, there's Pinder, there's Sly, and myself as we are here in the Tower Chrysler Studios. Tower Chrysler. It is the favorite Dodge Ram Chrysler dealer in Southern Alberta.
Love it.
People go in there just to take a look around. So I just want to be here. I just want to feel
hi.
the aura. Is Serge here? Yeah. I can smell those massage oils he uses for his yoga sessions. He's very
massage oils for yoga sessions.
He's big into the
all right.
Bikram, Bikram. Is that what it is? He's big into that.
Okay.
But he's always very moisturized.
Nice glow.
The hair is
Healthy
very
glow.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's a guy that takes care of himself.
He's dialed. Yeah.
So go in, get yourself a photo with Serge, buy a Ram or a Jeep Gladiator.
Maybe both if you're having a tough time.
It'll turn your day around.
Yeah.
Works for me. Here in the Tower Chrysler Studios. There's the Rhetster. Rhett,
Speaking
how are you?
Of healthy glows.
Yeah.
Look at the Rhetster and a beautiful day in Buffalo. Sun pouring in. Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
It is.
Mm-hmm. There were some squalls earlier today. Some squalls.
That's racist, please.
Squalls. Is that like snow?
There was definitely squalls. Definitely squalls. And it's gorgeous now.
Before we bring on our next guest, I just want to ask.
Next guest.
Rhett, is there any way I can get you on board with the Toronto Maple Leafs today?
I
asked you yesterday. Is there any way?
He's in. He's already in.
Much like a Tower Chrysler. What do I need to do to get you into a Toronto Maple Leaf today?
Stop asking. Jersey is ordered. I got a 55 coming. My boy Gio, I'm down with this shit. Yeah. Unstoppable, these guys. I'm going tomorrow. I'm driving to Canada. I got tickets. I'm going to sit there live and in person. My blue jersey on, my Buds jersey. Yeah. I'm in. Yeah. Frank, meet me there.
Only took a day. That was a tight turn.
Listen, they finally proved they've got, I've changed my stance on Keefe. I'm in. Got to support these guys. They're an hour and a half north of where I'm at. They showed me they got the balls to get the job done. I can relate to these people.
That's right. Yeah.
It's
you
the
can
North.
relate. Speaking of Frank Seravalli is our NHL insider. Presentation, Playoff Frank, a presentation of Bonton Meat Market. The original Bonton Meats opened in 1921, and they've been pumping out the highest quality product ever since, treating customers like family.
This is
Alberta beef, Triple A, Alberta beef, free-range poultry, grain-fed Alberta lamb, milk-fed veal, Alberta pork. Once again, Bonton voted Calgary Consumer Choice Award winner for Best Deli Meat Market. Greg Keller and his staff, the very best. 28 Crowfoot Circle in the Northwest. Rhymes.
Best in West.
That's right. Hello, Frank. Now, Frank was on in our pre-show.
He does jump in some Tuesdays ahead of the show to say hello.
Yeah, Frank was in. And we didn't realize that you have your own Walker Duehr. I didn't know that.
Walker Duehr!
Here it is.
Quick one.
It's a quick one, yeah.
It's got some tempo to it. I like the energy.
Yeah, there's a bit of that Philly slang to it. Yeah, I like it. It's very good. Yeah,
and a big night too in Frank's area apparently. The huge festivities. Dollar Dog Night at the Phillies game.
But I heard they came to us from Bonton Meats. They just sent all the hot dogs our way. Dollar Dog Night at Citizens Bank Park. I'm in.
Yeah, that's
aside
good stuff.
from
So
a
you
hot
are
dog,
going,
Frank. If you were going to go to Bonton, what's your meat of choice? You're going to a nice restaurant? Are you a filet? You're doing the ribeye, New York? You got a veal chop, lamb? What are we talking here?
I'm very impartial to the filet, but I could be like, depending on the ribeye, I could be swayed. Like those would be my two cuts. Not a very adventurous meat guy in the sense that like I wouldn't be on the lamb or the on the venison or anything like that. But yeah,
that's because you're used to shitty American steaks. You go up to Bonton, up to Calgary, you get some high quality stuff up there.
Oh, that's I don't think you're wrong there.
Yeah. Are you coming to Canada? Are you going to be doing any? Because, of course, the Leafs are going to move on. And when the Oilers win, they'll be on to round 2.
2 teams through. Wow.
That's right.
Winnipeg, Dean, yesterday
They're
before
fucked.
they
Yeah.
said they're done.
No.
They may as well not even play tonight. And they were up 1-0. I wondered about that take, and then they did get pretty
Trust
played
me.
out. They're
Come
done.
on.
Yeah,
Trust me.
You know how
So-
the Jets operate.
Are you going? Are you grabbing your passport and getting on a plane? Are you like Rhett on board with the Leafs?
Well, I will not be covering the Leafs. We have our guy Matt Larkin who lives in Toronto, so he'll be doing the Leafs. I would potentially make my way to Alberta for a extended Oilers playoff run if that indeed ends up happening. But they've got some business to take care of against the LA Kings. They have not made life easy on themselves up the road there at Highway 2.
I feel like tomorrow we might be having the same tone and tenor about the Oilers as we are about the Leafs. That they've finally taken a step, that they have graduated, that they've matured. You get to a 3-1 series. Now, again, there is no greater collapse, except 3-0, than a 3-1 series lead. And that is still very much in the cards.
Leafs have done this before. Yeah.
But I wonder if the Oilers are similarly in that that kind of spot where maybe it just takes a little time, some maturity, and if they're in a spot now to move on as well.
Well, first off, you can't lose in Game 7 if you don't win 3. So that's one thing. I have really mixed feelings about the Oilers and their playoff to this point because, yeah, coming back the other night against LA was incredibly impressive. I think they showed some real determination and grit to do that. And then to particularly claw all the way back, get the extra goal after LA pulled ahead again and win, pretty decisively in OT. Not all that dissimilar to the Leafs. The Oilers you talked about maturity and graduating, and I would have said that they got there last year, except for the way that they started this series again. Shooting themselves in the foot in Game 1, the way Game 3 plays out, the whining about the penalties and the high stick, maybe that was more from the fan base than it was anything else. It's been a frustrating series if you're an Oiler fan. So I'm not ready to declare that they've graduated just yet. The Leafs, on the other hand, what an enormous step forward that was, because it wasn't, I have to quibble with what Sheldon Keefe said on Saturday. That wasn't the game that they've lost every year. It was Game 4. And the way that it started with the Lightning up 4-1, you're thinking, like, this is textbook. Like, you could have predicted this 48 hours ago that the Bolts would win this game in pretty convincing fashion. And then the Leafs have this, like, awakening where not only do they sort of slay the demons from 10 years ago against Boston in that Game 7, also 4-1, but Austin Matthews has this signature moment in the playoffs, and then they dominate OT and close it out quickly, 9-1 in advantage in shot attempts. Like, they throttled the Lightning, who didn't really know what to do. And so I don't have any question that, to me, the Leafs are going to move on. And I think lost in all of that excitement about the Leafs is just how awful these last 2 losses have been for the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team that, had really shown no signs of weakness when it comes to the playoffs after the last number of runs that they were on.
We'll get to the Oilers, I guess. Well, let me just a quick one. Who do you go in net tonight for Edmonton if you're the coach? Skinner or
for me,
Campbell?
It's Skinner. It's not even close. I understand what the numbers would tell you about Jack Campbell in last game, stopping 27 of 28, and he did make some enormous saves. That leg extension save on Arvidsson will stand out for a long time. However, I also thought there were some really shaky moments for him in that game that aren't going to show up on a score sheet, some juicy rebounds, some things that had popped up in his game all season long. We have a long track record. Jack Campbell this season, .888 save percentage. I know what last game was like, and he stepped in admirably. I would be going back to Skinner just from a pure confidence and swagger standpoint.
Anyone feel the other oppositely? Just around the horn?
No, I think it's
their guy, right?
Because I think if you need to, you can position. Campbell can come in and give you solid minutes if you need him. If you go with Campbell, Skinner's a kid. I put Skinner back in, and because he's been fine.
He's been way better than Campbell all year, and it's nice that when you needed him, Campbell was good, but that doesn't mean he's a better option.
It's going to happen again. Yeah, I'm not going to Campbell at all.
At all.
Well, I mean, he's probably one of the bottom 5 netminders in the entire league this year. It was nice he had 40-plus minutes that were good.
And to Frank's point, it's
example.
Yeah, it was a circus around the crease. Speaking of goalies, Tampa Bay backs up against it. Surprisingly, it's Vasilevsky. I looked this morning. Out of all the goalies that have had the 4 starts, he's the worst of them all in terms of numbers. A 4.33 goals against, 856 save percentage. He is the worst goaltender performance and numbers-wise in the playoffs. And I know even going back to the regular season, there were some big goals. So there's some big numbers, giving up 3, 4, 5 a night for Tampa Bay. If they lose this series, Toronto's a good team, and Tampa's had the run and all of that. But what are you seeing here with Tampa? No shame in being down 3-1, but they haven't looked as dominant. They have at times, but just not the same.
I actually think that's the funny part watching the games. Like, they absolutely dominated the first 40 minutes. And you could argue the first 58 minutes or 48 minutes of game 4 before the Leafs turned it on. And here's the funny thing about Vasilevsky is when you think back to, I know his numbers have been poor this year in the playoffs, 19 goals against through the first 4 games, 856, just to put those out there. But go back to the first 5 games last year against the Leafs too. 2-3 record, 18 goals against in 5 games, and an 880 save percentage. Here's the problem with Vasilevsky, or it's the good thing if you're Tampa, is he played the final 2 games of the series and allowed a grand total of 4 goals with a 939 save percentage. Like, you want to count him out. You want to say that this start to the series has been disappointing because obviously it is when you're leading the league in goals against in the playoffs. However, it's difficult to really pin it all on him because you also look back to the comments from John Cooper last night, which I thought were really interesting. And it was like, he said the Lightning played not to lose game 4. And that's never a recipe for success. The old prevent defense that we've seen forever in the NFL, that never works. You have to continue to put your foot down on the gas, pedal to the metal, and keep pushing the opposition. The Lightning didn't do that, and that opened the door for Toronto to sneak back in.
What are we watching with Seattle? It's been an odd season in that I think we all thought early, okay, the Pacific's off, they're going to get in. We also all thought, Colorado's going to win this. It probably won't be very difficult. And yet there they are, 2-2 with an OT win last night. What have you seen from them all year, and what's made them so difficult for the Avs in round 1?
Well, did you say Pacific soft? Wouldn't that mean that Calgary would get in? Sorry, I couldn't help myself there. So what I would say is the Kraken have hit the Avs in the face with a 2x4 in just about every game to start. They've scored the first goal in all 4 games. They've been the way hungrier team, it feels like. The Avs have turned it on at times as they're able to do. I just think now the series has been flipped on its head. Valerie Nichushkin out for personal reasons. The Avs likely missing Cale Makar for a number of games now after his hearing that's upcoming with the Department of Player Safety. And so here's the funny thing about that, though, is you take Makar out of the mix for Colorado, who has played without him for a real big chunk of this season. And then you also take Jared McCann out of the Seattle lineup, who not only scored 40 goals this year, but led their team in scoring by a wide margin. He had 40. The next closest teammate had 24. I think the advantage in an odd way actually goes to Colorado having McCann out. Dave Haxtell saying he's definitely out for game 5, potentially longer. It's an ugly setup for the Kraken, a team that, yes, they score goals by committee. Look at their score sheet last night. Eberle, Borgen, they get goals and contributions from all over their lineup. I just don't know that that's enough to get them over the hump in 3 games with an Avs team that still has Rantanen and McKinnon and all these other guys that can step up. It's been admirable what they've been able to do. The Kraken, look, for me, continue to go against the Kraken at your own peril and think that they don't have a shot, because they've showed that they can hang in on this fight. But now missing McCann, I think the odds are a bit longer for the Kraken than they were.
Okay, so walk us through what Department of Player Safety is looking at here, because I found it odd that they assess, they look for a major, they say no, it's a minor, and then there's a suspension hearing. Can these things be, coexist peacefully? Is the NHL working right if something gets reduced to a minor from a major and there's a suspension hearing? What am I missing here?
Well, what you're missing is those are 2 different departments. One is hockey operations, that's in the situation room, that's making the call on the decision to rescind the major. And then you have the Department of Player Safety. One's in New York, one's in Toronto. They're 2 totally different things. And they're looking at it from a different perspective. So I do find it head scratching, though, that they aren't on the same page. And in fact, I don't know how you could look at that hit in real time on a monitor, with the benefit of video review, and not think that that's a major, because the puck wasn't anywhere close. And to try and get in Cale Makar's head at that point to say, well, he thought the puck was coming his way. Look, I get that Georgiev, was looking over that direction as well. To me, that doesn't absolve you. You don't get to just smoke a guy into the boards because you think the puck might be there. You actually have to look and follow through with the appropriate action after the fact. So to me, when I compare this hit to Bunting on Chernak earlier in the series, the playoffs, you have Bunting, who did not have any Department of Player Safety history when it comes to a suspension. Here's the play again, and you'll get a real good look at where the puck's heading. Come on, you don't get to finish this guy. I'm sorry, you don't. And McCann's he's not expecting it, just in the same way that Chernak wasn't. I mentioned Bunting, no player safety history. Makar, no player safety history. I thought 3 games was a reach for Bunting. I thought 2 was the appropriate number. However, since you went to 3 for Bunting, I don't think this hit is any better or any worse. I don't know how you could do anything less for Makar than the 3 that you already gave Bunting earlier this round.
And then just a final one in that series.
Well, just before we move on, Rhett, what's your take on the hit?
I was actually going to ask Frank this, because my take is that I was taught to always be ready to protect myself. And not that it makes the hit okay, but the Bunting one to me is a suspension because he hits him in the head. Makar hits him into the boards. I think that's a little bit different. I don't know. I find it odd that they review it and they change it, and then other people are involved. I didn't think it was that. I didn't think it was a suspension, or I don't think it's a suspension, but
I wonder too, because we talk about it a lot, Brett, with how the game's played. Kids, younger players are used to not getting hit in general. And there he's not expecting to get hit.
It's like that puck's out of play. The play's dead. I'm not bracing for shit. Yeah.
Probably heard a whistle at that point. You could.
Well, that was my question.
McCann's head, and McCann's looking down ice. He's looking toward the bench, like he's skating to get off, and he gets absolutely leveled.
Okay, so last one on the series. Get us up to speed on when things got weird with Nichushkin, or is it all at once and no one's heard anything since?
So it's definitely gotten weird. I think there's been a lot of people chasing the story. I've checked in on the story as well to try and understand what is happening. Everyone has kept this very hush-hush to this point. I would say that my understanding is, and my belief is, not confirmed by anyone. My belief through the reporting that I've done is Nichushkin had some kind of alcohol-related incident that occurred at the team hotel. I don't know what that is or what it involved, but I believe it was on Friday night in Seattle. Obviously, you saw the reports that he left the team, is no longer with the team. So wasn't in Seattle for, around the hotel or anything like that for game 4. I don't know where he is, but there seemed to be lots of speculation out there, that he left with team security. And then there was like this line drawn somehow between, is there something involving Russia or anything like that? Not to my knowledge. Like I said, I believe this to be alcohol related. And I don't know what the proper protocol is here in terms of reporting this. This is a delicate one because you want to be respectful of a guy's privacy, but at the same time, a really big situation in a series where, and then it's the playoffs. Like everything's talked about at every point. So it's definitely a delicate situation that we'll continue to work on.
Wanted to jump in on Rangers Devils. We thought this was going to be a laugher. Now it's 2-2 going back to Jersey. What are the vibes there? And are we going to get the classic series that I think fans were hoping for in Greater New York?
It feels like that. It feels like this one's one that's going the distance. I was kind of surprised to see Gerard Gallant tee off on his players, and he doubled down today in his media avail saying, essentially that their stars need to be better. He focused on the top 6 specifically, and you look at the production from that Kreider line and sort of how lacking that's been. That's been surprising. He spoke to their effort level as well, certainly in games 3 and 4 at the Garden. I don't know if they took their foot off the gas or what, but the Devils on the flip side have been incredibly impressive in their own right. Akira Schmid, where did this guy come from? I know that his numbers were really good in the regular season in a limited sample size, but he's 22 and played last year in the USHL for the Sioux City Musketeers. To step into 2 playoff games in the pressure cooker at Madison Square Garden and give up 2 goals total in 2 games, 57 on 59. Wow. The future is bright for me for the Devils. You've got Hughes and all these young guys, and now you solve the goaltending component, at least temporarily, for the Devils. That's a huge boost. They've got confidence. And the one thing that I'll say that stands out to me about the Rangers when watching is I don't know that their style of play with their stars is conducive to playoff success. They are constantly blowing the zone. They play what amounts to me to be pond hockey. They don't work hard back. They're constantly looking for the long stretch pass to break free, to create offense. And that's good and great. I just think it also makes life really hard on them in their own end. And we've talked about Shesterkin and the pressure that's on him to really bail that team out on multiple instances every night. Can you win that way? I have real questions about that.
They've got their hands full, the Florida Panthers, with the Boston Bruins, obviously. And if you lose to Boston, after the season they've had, no one's going to, no shame. Has enough been said, or because we're very focused on the Flames, obviously, here in the season from a year ago to this year. Very similarly, though, the Panthers, from 58 wins to 42 wins, they go from 122 points to 92. That's 30,
Trophy.
right?
Yeah.
It's President's Trophy to sneaking
card.
in. And by the way, by way of just sneaking in, you do get the Boston Bruins. What's your read? And then looking at the playoffs here, no goals for Barkov. Duclair's been held off the score sheet. It's been Tkachuk and little else, which is maybe overstating it a bit. But what's your read on the season that has been and continues and looks like it could end here quickly for Florida?
Yeah, Duclair, a healthy scratch, by the way. And Barkov has been a non-factor, I would say, not just these playoffs, but he's had an incredibly disappointing season. I don't know what happened to Alexander Barkov, but a special player that has struggled.
Huberdeau
could be part of it too.
It doesn't matter, Ryan, if you played it. Stop. Sorry, and I'm interrupting you, Frank. You're trying to answer Boom's. It happened. Huberdeau was no good in Calgary, and Barkov was no good. I'm guessing. I have no idea idea of figuring out that they were buddies. They played together a long time. And when you lose, if they were good buddies, that is not an easy thing to lose a best friend on a team. Lindholm for the Flames, what had happened to him? He was not very good this year. Well, his two line mates, now he did play with them, but I think those guys hung out a lot together. You can't, that's chemistry. And when teams make those kinds of changes, it's all fine and good to say, well, on paper, it's going to work out. Personal, and, it's not feelings, but it is feelings. I'm not saying Barkov has hurt feelings, but I'm guessing that he was not too happy to lose a good friend. Again, I'm guessing that they're buddies in Huberdeau. And I think you could see it on both sides of the fence there. Huberdeau was no good. Barkov was no good. You can see Lindholm had happened. You feel like it happened to him as well.
Too. You missed Uyghur.
Yeah.
Like it's weird that it really, both teams would say, geez, we did well in that trade at the time. And both teams like, man, we thought we'd be better this year.
Rhett, can you walk Frank and everyone through the Andrew Ference trade going back to your days?
Well, it wasn't just Andrew Ference. It was Chuck Kobasu as well. And it was guys that you'd been through wars with and that you believed in and you knew the character of. And we're in Buffalo and Darryl makes a trade, and it's a trade that nobody thinks is necessary. There's not really a clear winner in it. It didn't make any sense to anyone other than I think we got older. I don't know that the Flames got better, and it disrupted the room. It totally, because it was. I'm sorry,
Brad Stewart and Wayne Primo, for Chuck Kobasu,
both good dudes,
and Ference, and this was after you guys had gone to the Cup final back, before that. But like you say, it was a chemistry. It crushed your chemistry. Well, maybe on paper you could have. Maybe you're better. It's debatable, but it's hard to know.
Well,
I guess.
What I would say about that trade, that trade specifically was that you knew damn well what Chuck Kobasu's motivation was or his commitment to the team was, and you knew damn well what Ference's commitment to the team was. All the guys that were still in that room, we came this close to winning, and you knew effing well all they wanted to do was take the next step. So it was such an unnecessary move, and it's just, I think it's got to be a warning, and not that trade because it's so long ago, but to see the trades that were made last summer, and some trades work out great, but as a GM, to move big pieces on squads that look like Florida. I mean, Florida had a great year last year. They start making all these changes, coaches, this. Now they're not as good. You can't F with chemistry if you don't need to, or don't F with chemistry if you don't need to.
I always say, don't F with happy. That's
fair.
That's always something to keep in mind. I will say, I also think, in addition to missing Huberdeau, which I think was a real thing because they were close, I do think Barkov was dealing with some family stuff too. Like the personal, you never really know the impact that it has on a player's game. It's always hard to put your finger on, well, how much of an impact did it have? The chemistry on ice too, I think is important because it took them a long time to figure it out. It's still not there. But what I would say, the difference between the way Florida looked at this and the way Calgary looked at this, Calgary was going in saying, we've got a complete team that we think is ready to win now. Whereas Florida was saying, we took our shot already. We lost in the second round in a sweep to the Lightning. And now I've said this many times with you guys, they were not focused on this year. They thought their defense was thin, just sort of, especially after trading Uyghur, having Ekblad and asking him to do so much was a lot. They were hit with injuries, and they were thinking if we could just get through this year and, be a wild card team, I was saying this in December, so it's not revisionist history now that they are one. The fact that they got in, they considered this season a success. Now, what you see on the ice next year, I think for the Panthers is going to be a lot different. They're going to have like $15 million in cap space. They got to go out and get a defenseman. They don't have a lot of prospects or draft capital to deal. They've got a goaltending situation that they need to work on. But they're not sitting there saying, oh, well, the fact that we're not going on a deeper playoff run this year is disappointing by any stretch of the imagination. They were happy to get in.
We're about a week now into the post-Brad Treliving, although June 30th and that whole thing. But it's the new day here as far as a general manager is concerned. Are there any names that either you've heard or that would just be on that radar that Flames fans should be aware of that could be a candidate or a solution here?
Not a one.
Is that odd or is that normal for this suit far out? I suppose they said there wasn't a real pressing timeline and Maloney was focused on meeting the coach last week and sifting through all the exits.
Yeah, I would say not surprising. I think that, you think about Pittsburgh and they're not really pushing the envelope on their search either. They haven't really begun to put any plans in motion yet or interviews or anything like that. But by the way, speaking of Brad Treliving, I'd expect him to be in the mix in Pittsburgh if he wants to be. And potentially could also see him in Philadelphia as well as a candidate there eventually, whenever that their process has begun to get rolling and they're interviewing people as well. So something to keep an eye on. But I don't know what the thought process is for the Flames, given the parameters that are in place. Like, you've got the president of hockey ops, you've got the coach. How much sway is the president of hockey ops going to have? Does he have the ultimate and final decision-making vote? Does he have veto power? How wide of a search are you going to be conducting if you're the Flames? Are you looking at internal candidates and Craig Conroy, as I mentioned? Are you going to bring in cast a wide net and search league-wide? I don't really have any sense of really what the Flames are thinking yet, and I think the true answer is maybe they don't either.
Just because you brought it up, you mentioned Philadelphia. Danny Briere has been the interim guy there. I guess what's the vibe there in Philadelphia about either the job he's done or the likelihood of him staying on?
It's really interesting because I think for the longest time, everyone has just assumed that Danny Briere is the guy. And I think there's been this belief in place, mostly because it seems like the Flyers kind of promised him that. He was a finalist for the Montreal Canadiens job, which went to Kent Hughes. And I think they felt like, hey, we can't lose this guy. And they did everything they could to keep him in the fold. With the idea that the next time an opening came up, that he would be, quote, strongly considered for that opportunity. So I think everyone has assumed that he's the GM, but then who would the president of hockey operations be? Now, here's where it gets interesting, is that they've conducted some interviews, I believe, and I'm told that a couple of them sort of have their own idea in place for what they'd like the GM to be and are not necessarily thinking Danny Briere. Will that president of hockey ops have the power to make that choice? Are they barking up the wrong tree? Is it already set in stone that Danny Briere is going to be the GM? I don't know that they've actually conducted interviews for the GM position. And does the next president of hockey ops want to bring in his own guy?
This seems odd to me. And Pinder brought it up. Is when you're talking about the Flames and their search for their next GM, and how Pinder is, and probably rightfully so, of the opinion you got to go out and interview everyone. You got to do the best search you can do. You shouldn't just hand it to a Craig Conroy-like player. But Craig's been in the business a lot longer than Briere's been in the business. And in Philly, it sounds like they want to hand it to Briere. So how do you differentiate between Briere, who has a little less, and Conroy? Or is it just personal? Is it ownership that makes, why is one guy like Briere, in a way, sounds like being handed the reins, anointed, and a guy like Conroy, who's been waiting for years, not being handled? It confuses me.
Yeah, and eminently more qualified too, and Craig Conroy, and understands the market, and like there's a million things that he's touched every facet of the hockey ops department. I personally don't understand why he wasn't just named the GM the day that Don Maloney was handed the reins as president of hockey ops. It makes no sense to me. And I mentioned to you guys before, I think this is a really difficult position for anyone to step into next, essentially, if that is indeed the case, knowing that you're inheriting a coach in Daryl Sutter who is more or less bulletproof, at least for the first part of your tenure, and how does that then impact the moves that you need to make this summer with your roster and a number of players who are discontented with the coach?
I do wonder if, behind closed doors, if it's kind of a fait accompli that it's going to be Conroy,
Kinda
but
feel
just
like that,
out of, you wait until, I don't know. I'm with
optics?
Yes,
It
that's
makes
the
it
only
look worse, I think. It makes it look sloppy.
I do too, because you've been grooming. That's like, he's been groomed to take over. It's been years and years. He's put in the work. He's done the time and all of that. And now the optics
now to
me,
to be
the
like,
optics
hey,
to me are
we going to do a search?
Is that you're going to make him now have to jump through the hoops after he's done all of this? I'm with you. I think if it's only for optics, that's the optics I'm seeing, is that it looks janky to make him have to be a candidate.
100% janky. If you don't know what the hell you have in Conroy by now, what's an interview going to teach you?
No, they know Conroy. They know Conroy
Right?
inside out.
And
it's about what they don't know. Like what's happening in other orgs. Like, let's say the Leafs are down 3-1. Would you not want to wait to see if Kyle Dubas is available, given the roster he's been building for 5-10 years, or no?
Yeah, but okay, Ryan. So sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there because it's great that you say that, and because Kyle Dubas is a perfect example. What was Kyle Dubas handed? A blank slate? What did they get to draft? When is that plan going to go in place for the Calgary Flames? Oh, great. Kyle Dubas has been awesome. Marner, Riley, Matthews, all high-end studs. You're in Toronto. You've got as much money as you need. Blah, blah, blah. You have probably the biggest support group, maybe too big. I don't know what Dubas uses for information, but there's no damn way the Flames information is as big as Toronto's. So to say that Dubas is more brilliant, to me, is actually, it's negative. And even if he is more brilliant, what did he do? I don't even know when he started, to be honest with you. Did he draft Marner and Matthews? The Flames have to go in reverse to get Dubas to show, or Conroy, or whoever's next in the ropes to have that play out. You're not going to step in and take over this team and draft 5 guys in the top 10 or 3 guys in the top 10 that turn into superstars, right? I don't get why we're saying Dubas would be better unless the owner is going to say, whoever we're hiring, yes, you have the ability to do what you need to do. And if that means going reverse, great. And I don't see that happening.
I still agree with you guys. I think it's going to be. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm going to say something out loud that hasn't been said, and it's not a personal thing at all. I think the jankiest part of the process, if you're going to go down the path, is why did you anoint Don Maloney as president of hockey operations, and why did you need to? If that is the case, if you really are going to do a search, then you shouldn't have a person in place above the GM already, and you should open up both positions. And by the way, why do you need 2 positions? I don't think you do. I think it muddies the water, and I think you run into a situation like, just look at the Leafs, and you want to talk about Dubas. Shanahan and Dubas have had friction for 18 months, 2 years, whatever the issue is. Brendan Shanahan holds final say and control, and Kyle Dubas doesn't. And until you have, complete autonomy for one person that's doing the work to then make the decisions, I think you end up in some incredibly awkward positions. And I don't know why the Flames felt the need to go down this path. I understand the idea of, well, we need someone to steer the ship. Like, if you think that Craig Conroy and Brad Pascal and Chris Snow and the group there, call Don Maloney an advisor if you want to. You didn't need to take this extra step further and appoint him to president of hockey operations. It makes no sense to me, and I don't know why it hasn't been talked about more.
It makes even, and to build upon that, Don Maloney and Brad Treliving worked together, and everyone's going to have slightly different opinions, but to me, that's 2 peas in a pod. Right? Like, they're going to have this. Right? Yes.
Thick as thieves
So
is what I was told.
Treliving's
the
above
relationship
Daryl.
was.
Yeah, Treliving is above Daryl and can't, so that there's friction there. So Treliving leaves, and then
And it's his
Maloney's
best
there,
buddy.
and they sing from the same hymn book. So now it's just Maloney's going to have an issue dealing with Daryl. Is it weird that we've not heard from Daryl postseason? A lot of times you'll see coaches have a end of the year press conference. It's been quiet.
2
not a
weeks
peep.
pretty much since the season ended.
He might stubbornly be saying, I think it's weird. Sorry, I'm jumping in front of you there, Frank. This is your question. Maybe Daryl's saying, you announce I'm the coach, and then I'll have my year-end media availability.
Yeah, and you don't want to bring a guy out to talk and then gun him. Like I feel like you have to make the decision on the coach before the coach addresses whether he's, the season.
so
Make a decision on
Okay,
the
so
coach whose new extension hasn't
continue
kicked
to
in
boil
yet.
it down. How could you possibly make a decision on the coach and then go out and hire a GM?
It's backwards. Well, and the whole notion, like, okay, why did they bring in a president of hockey ops? Like, it's the same thing. Like, who's going to do the search for a president of hockey ops if they have to go outside the org? Like, is Murray conducting that? There's no one to do it. As soon as the GM's a lame duck, this thing had no rudder. Like, sorry.
I agree with you.
And the optics they've given us are make it worse than if they'd have just cleaned house, fire everyone, go ahead, or don't.
And that's okay too.
And we laughed because Treliving had the offer to stay. So at the end of the year, essentially, everyone's coming back. Everyone's been given extensions, and Maloney's been given a promotion. So it's who's going to pay for this season, for this awful year?
Nobody.
Nobody. In fact, there'll be some promotions anyway. Frank, always good to talk to you. How many? What's the on all you can eat hot dogs tonight?
Oh,
so my goal is to go inning for inning. I would set the over under at 6.5.
Man, dog per inning pace with these new rules, Frank. That's very impressive.
That's true.
I think last year doable. This year, man, that pitch clock things are speeding up.
Do they have a hot dog clock in the outfield for you? It's like.
So actually, they have a counter in on the scoreboard of total dogs consumed by the stadium. It's like the other day, it was like 40. Like they had one last week. It was like 45,000 through 2 innings.
Wow, it's a lot of snow.
So
Jesus,
it's a lot of snow. Well, text us when you get home tonight, okay? We're worried about you.
Worried about your.
I'll tweet you tonight. I'll keep the counter going.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. We do need the Frank dog counter. Perfect. Thank you, Frank. Frank Seravalli, our NHL Insider, a presentation. Playoff Frank of Bonton Meat Market. They do it right. They do it the best. They're an OG with us going back to the old days. Greg has been a great supporter of ours for years and years, and we just ask that you support him as well. Calgary Consumer Choice Award winner for Best Deli Meat Market. It doesn't get better. 28 Crowfoot Circle in the Northwest. Online, bontonmeatmarket.com.
Yeah, and I think all of us, if we're hedging bets here, like it's clearly back to the GM thing. Like feels like it's Connie's job. It's only a matter of what's going to surround Connie.
Which is kind of
isn't that more confusing than just naming him? Like honestly, to me, it makes me question things more. Like okay, let's go back to the start of this because the plan, the true plan was to bring everyone back in the same capacity and just continue on, right?
Because Tree had the extension.
Plan.
Yeah.
Tree had the offer. Mr. Treliving said, I don't want this pile of poo.
I'm good.
I'm good. And said, thanks. I'm out. Somebody else, feel free to start walking in this. Yeah. And there was no other, and we're okay with this. And optically, we're going to give Maloney because that looks like it is. This just looks ridiculous, does it not? Am I being too harsh?
Well, and so Maloney in the press conference literally has to stop himself. He's from welling up when talking about Treliving leaving. Like they're clearly, they were running mates in terms of everything. Not to mention that, of course, Don would have hired Brad back in Arizona, as you alluded to. Yeah.
Is that not odd that he stayed?
Well, so my theory is that this was a Brad versus Daryl thing, and that Brad wasn't going to return if Daryl was. And when Brad wasn't given, the autonomy to say, I'm the GM, I don't want this coach back, that he said, okay, I'll see you later. But what it leaves is equally as confounding, because if Brad was having issues with dealing with Daryl and he's got a similar philosophy on the game to Don, why won't Don clash with Daryl? And then they come in and
Don walking if his buddy's leaving and if his if
the
his
coach
buddy's
done
the
yet.
same,
You got to do that still. And so if you're the owner that wouldn't let Brad get rid of the coach, are you suddenly letting this quickly invented president of hockey ops job that now all of a sudden he's going to be able to do it, or is now Don going to go to the owner and say, I'd like to fire the GM, and the owner says no? Like, it all reeks of dysfunction.
And to me, if they just end up now giving it to Conroy, it looks as janky as we say it is. Because if they come out, it's unbelievable. Steve Yzerman showed up on our doorstep, and thank goodness we did our due diligence, as we feel we have one of the best general managers in the game. I got to think it's a 99% that it's going to be Craig Conroy. So if you do that and interim, and we're going to go through the whole thing, and you make Conroy jump through these hoops and then just announce him, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, and look, if it was a really functional environment that was going to offer autonomy to the GM, I think there would be a lot of value in going out to see who the best people are elsewhere, and maybe even just getting an audit saying, like, look, what have we done wrong here? But it doesn't feel like this owner wants to evaluate how he does things. It's status quo, and we're not changing it. So I don't want, Tulsky to come in and tell me how to run the organization. Connie knows how it works here. He's going to be the guy.
Yeah, and as far as Maloney is concerned, I get that he and Brad have the relationship, and maybe they're like-minded. And like you said, when guys work together, even if there's going to be some differing of opinion. But if Maloney were not here, they would have no one really with any extended NHL managing experience
beyond AGM,
right?
Yeah,
that's the thing Maloney does have, is he's been a GM, he's been an AGM, he's done it for literally decades.
Yes.
So for what that's worth, he's gone through a lot of the processes that you would have to right now.
Yeah. And even naming him president versus just saying Don Maloney's going to spearhead our GM search. Interesting. Because, we've seen this president position exist and then disappear again. And, they don't like spending more than they need to around here. And if Don Maloney is the same guy who was a year ago or months ago making AGM salary, I would think this is a bump if it's a real president of hockey ops. Like, it's a lot of the same.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Don't know that we've made any sense of it.
Well, it's hard to make sense of it when there's no sense to be made of it. I think that Conroy will be the guy. I think and if he's not, he has to leave. He, like Treliving, has to say, take this extension and stick it, because I'm out. How many is another year or two? Then I'll be qualified. Either I am, in your mind, a guy that's close or is there, or I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think he's absolutely got the front runner here. No doubt about it.
Frank
we all think he's going to get the job.
Frank made an interesting point about Briere in Philly, where they were anointing him. They was kind of, they're going to keep you around because we're going to eventually give you this. Well, what the F has Conroy been told? I guarantee you he's been told it. Burke said that Ken said it. So how many years has he been sitting there doing exactly what he's told, working his ass off? And now the opportunity comes up. We're not sure.
You know what he's been told? He's been told, you're going to be the next guy, until the job came open, and then they said, well, we need you you're going to have to go through the process like everybody else.
Yeah, unless this is a wink and a nudge, like, this is yours, but we want to look.
But again, if it's a wink and a nudge, it's worse. I think it's worse.
I think from other perspectives it might not be, but I understand what you're saying. Like, your job was to groom Connie to be a GM. If he's not ready yet, it looks bad on you. But you look around, there's also, there could be some very, very experienced and like high-end people available. Are you allowing wiggle room to chat with them? But I just think anyone that's actually a top candidate ain't coming here anyway. They never have been able to do it.
Don't give me your shit that it's because it's a guy don't give me that. Don't be ignorant to me about it. I have a friend that works for the Flames. That's you just said it. Don't paint me with that brush.
What did you hear me say? Because what I was saying clearly didn't come through.
You basically said I have a one-sided opinion on it.
No.
I have a personal vested interest in Craig Conroy because he's my friend. That
did you hear
I have this opinion.
No, not at all. That's the first time I've had that thought in my head. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm sorry. Anyway. Something there went sideways on what I was saying and what you heard.
I was getting ready for the outdoor dental read.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Okay. Well, either way.
But I do love it when you guys fight. So,
but
I'll wait. If you guys
no, I don't want it. I don't want it to quit because I think it's interesting because if it was a wink and a nudge, I think that's worse, isn't it? Because that basically says because that basically says to the fans and the people that care about this team, you're full of shit. We're full of shit.
The other way to interpret it, though,
like
Rhett,
if you're
is we understand we haven't been the pinnacle of great management, and we owe it to this fan base to at least audit ourselves and not say that.
Then it's not a wink and a nudge. I'm fine if you're telling me. Yes, but if they're just giving us optics as fans and followers, then I think that's very misleading. And that's why I don't understand. Go ahead, Dean.
I was going to say, you like the optics. You think it's good optics to say you're doing due diligence and doing a wide swath.
It's good process in theory, right? I understand this is a situation that's very unique, but generally speaking, I think it's good practice for NHL teams to go search everywhere for the best candidate.
I think in general that's the case, yeah. But if it's also the case where you have been grooming a guy for years and years, he has spent decades in the organization, and then you give it to him anyway, it looks sloppy to me.
I think every organization out there is always grooming their AGMs to be GMs, right? But they also want to see if there's people that have done the job with great track records that they can chat with as well. Yeah. I don't think it's a failure if Craig Conroy, if they theoretically were to do a great search and they bring in a guy that's been a GM in the league for 15 years. Like, to be frank, one of the issues with this organization is it's just one first-time GM after another, old retread, first-time GM.
So if they do end up giving it to Conroy,
yeah,
after going through due diligence and they want to talk to a bunch of people, aside from we'll hear that we think Craig is the guy, he's ready, he's been groomed for this, all of this, is there also something to be taken that there was no one with experience, there was no star out in the league that was going to come to Calgary?
No, I think you could easily say we're even more confident in the work Craig can do because we went around and this guy understands the situation better than anyone else.
Yeah, I get it. I don't agree with it. And I think I just come back to it. I don't know why on that day, and maybe it's out of respect to Brad, you don't do it that day. I don't know. But I just think it.
Well, to me, if it's a wink and a nudge, that's the wrong message. Then just give it to him. If it's
we won't know if it is, right? Like it's.
Yeah.
If it's a wink and a nudge, where's the press conference today? Yesterday, Friday. I don't know. I honestly think that Craig Conroy is a candidate for this job. I don't think it's a wink and a nudge retro. I think he's in the mix. I think he's the front runner. But yeah, they're going to talk to other people. They're going to talk to other AGMs and do the whole thing and then come back and maybe give it to Conroy.
And it might be better in a sense that you could ask a guy, how did you guys do this process with scouting? Or how did you have your analytics department integrate with these people? Or what did you do with your affiliate? Like, you might learn some things that help Craig, who's going to get this job, we think anyway. You might say, oh, geez, this guy had a great idea on some systems or process we can use. It's getting kind of nerdy, but I do think there are organizations that operate differently. And this organization revisiting how things have always been done ain't a bad look, even if it's just a look.
Well, and that goes back to what I said about the Dubas thing, where it's you can sure look a lot smarter if you get top 5 picks and get superstar players.
Yeah, no, and I'm not here to say like the track records. I think he's a very good GM. Other people don't, and there's lots of guys.
No, and I'm not questioning Dubas. I'm just saying that. Right? I'm just saying that as an organization, the GM has to be allowed to maybe have a few down years. right? Like that makes a lot of GMs look smart down the road. Guys that put in long-term plans and draft high picks, and those guys turn out into stars. Boy, all of a sudden the Toronto Maple Leafs, look at Kyle Dubas and the Leafs and how well they've managed things. Yeah, no shit. Nylander, Matthews, Marner, O'Reilly. Like, you draft some high-end talent, you should get better.
I wouldn't even say, like, look at the team he's built. I'd say, like, look how he's managed the cap. That seems to be such a crucial skill in today's NHL. Like, given all that money out before the pandemic hit, they've done a really good job of remaining competitive, finding value. You know, you didn't sign Hyman on the huge money. You bring Bunting in at a fraction of the dollars for similar production. I just think there's some absolute, like,
there's some misses too, though. The
of
Marleau
course,
thing
all
was
of
a
them.
disaster.
All of the things are misses. Like every GM has them, but cap management and being able to draft and develop are two of the best things.
But I think you're only allowed to have those swings and misses if you have those draft picks that are stars. Like, right?
I'm not fighting on that. Like,
you have
clearly,
to have the base.
this team's never allowed to rebuild. You don't bring in a guy to say, "Hey,
oh, it happens all the
stars.
time." Yeah. To pick in the top 5, you need to be a bad team, and generally, if you're a bad team, your general manager's under extreme pressure and gets fired.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, yeah, if those picks that you had at 3 and 2, or God, first overall, if they do pan out, then it's generally, rarely, the GM who went through the pain and suffering that enjoys the fruits of the labors when they come up and play as well as the Leafs have been.
Yeah.
Outdoor Dental, outdoor.dental.com. No videos this week, Retro. No embarrassment for you or me. Although I know I was snoring last night. Kind of, even with the stuff.
I like the ones that scare you awake.
They scare you awake, and then you look around to see, was anybody? Okay, good. No one was here.
In earshot.
You can avoid that embarrassment. And more importantly, you can just have higher quality sleep, better sleep, more of it. You'll feel better. Everything in your life is better with the proper amount of sleep. Snoring treatments done at Outdoor Dental. You're like, okay, well, it's a dental office. Well, they have the Soleil laser that is used, no needles, no drills, with the dentistry part of what Outdoor Dental does. But the laser also can be used to treat snoring. 2 15-minute treatments, increases the tension in the soft palate in the back of your yipper, reduce snoring, non-surgical, pain-free. I've had guys coming up to me, one of the guys at Launchpad the other day. So the snoring thing, that's for real? So yeah.
That's legit.
What do you think? It's not a wrestling gimmick.
It's Dr. J here. I'm messing around.
Yeah. It's not Isaac Yankum over here. It's Dr. J Patel. Outdoor.dental. And of course, they're a full dental office. So move your family there, do all your dentistry there. But for sure, in this case, check out the info on the snoring treatments. Do you have 15 minutes twice in your life? 2 15-minute sessions? That's it.
Do that.
Pain-free. Outdoor.dental. And go say hi to Dr. J. Isaac Yankum. Isaac J. He was a bad dentist in the WWF back then.
Oh, that's an interesting character. I don't know that you've seen a lot of different characters replicated. I haven't seen another bad dentist. It
was a terrible one.
Okay.
He then, the next one was better as he became Kane, Undertaker's brother.
That's usually a large human if you have to be.
He's massive, yeah. He's
I
actually a mayor of some town somewhere in the States.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
it's a big cat.
Yeah, big dude. Big dude indeed. You ever taken a tombstone pile driver, Rhett? You ever been choke slammed through a table?
Kerr? Is Rob in today? He's had half the shit done.
He has been, yeah.
I can remember Frontier, Saskatchewan. My brother got me up and he pile drived me for real. Oh. Yeah, I was a young boy. Wasn't good. Was not happy.
Right
he
on.
Also stood
top
on me
the old dome.
in the bottom of a pool and wouldn't let me up, and I nearly drowned. So that was good.
Yeah,
that's brotherly love. That's that is right there.
If you would like a Soleil laser, contact Trevor. He could hook you up. Let's do the Pinder Report. It is a presentation of our friends at Village Honda, located in the Northwest Auto Mall. They are online at villagehonda.com. Go to the website and check things out. We've been talking about it. They've got the packages, and they vary in value. And to what end, but the detailing packages for your vehicle. Now with the warmer temps and they're getting all the dirt and debris cleaned off of the streets, the sweepers are out there. It's time to get your car taken care of, starting at $79.95. Online details at your dealership for life. Village Honda presents the Pinder Report.
Fellas, we got news. And there wasn't a lot that went right this year, Retro, but one of the silver linings for the Calgary Flames in 2022-2023, Walker Duehr back in the fold. A 2-year contract, Retro, with an AAV of $8,250,000. That's maybe the worst way you could say it. $825,000 a year, 2-year deal, and it's a one-way deal. How about this? Walker Duehr.
Walker Duehr.
Walker Duehr.
Get your jersey.
Now, before you get your jersey, that is a seriously training camp ass number that he's wearing. 71.
Love it.
And I think he was like 61 a year ago. Do you keep the dirt under your nails? Or, as was suggested on Instagram, someone climbed into the personal messages, use your poll, get the Flames to give him number 40. He can be WD-40. It's a lot. But if there was ever going to be a number out of the 70s, this is now your offseason to find one, Walker.
I like the look of 71.
It fits his style.
It's
a little odd. It's right side. It's coming around with heat. I came from nothing.
Does Malkin wear 71?
Malkin does wear 71.
Yeah.
That's not many of them.
So Walker Duehr, Evgeny Malkin, very much the same player.
Same. Pretty much identical.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Same career trajectories, everything. 25 and 2-year deal. Okay. He could have been a Group 6 UFA next summer, whatever. It's a 2-year deal. We liked him a lot.
Richly deserved.
And with Trevor Lewis expiring and Milan Lucic's deal. No, the contracts, not the body. They're both alive and well.
His body's dead?
No, they're both alive and well. The contracts have expired. I do have an update also on Milan Lucic. He's in the place you'd least expect to see him. I've got photos from the internets. The fourth line now comprises of Walker Duehr on the right, Rhett, and 2 openings to his left. Do you have any ideas or suggestions for players that should slide into the left of Walker Duehr? Do we have a Coronado or a Adam Ruzicka or a Connor Zary? Or
no?
Is it just Lewis coming back?
What did I have? I thought I made the lines right at the end of the year. I think I had Zary and Pelche.
That would be a little bit of pace and some youth. I don't mind that kind of a setup for a line.
What about Rosie? Is
Rosie?
I told you I'm mad at Rosie because Rosie didn't show up every day. He kind of pissed away his opportunity. And if you don't want to take it when you get the chance, then it's kind of on your own conscience, buddy.
Yeah. So that is the first contract signed by non-Brad Treliving at general manager.
I like whoever is doing it.
Whoever's in charge pulling the strings
start,
there.
Yeah.
We like that Walker Duehr. Now, could you got a 3rd year?
Could you have gone? Yeah.
Could you get another?
Locked him in.
The agent's not going to. Anyway, that is done. Speaking of his former line mate, and maybe still could be line mate, Milan Lucic's deal is up. So you'd imagine Guy Milan's age finishes that massive 7-year contract with the Oilers, $6 million a year. Probably time to kick your feet up in the tropics, right? You want to guess which tropical country he's hanging out in here on this 25th day of April?
Is it Saskatchewan?
Saskatchewan's not a country. He is indeed in Calgary. Look what he's doing. He's practicing with the Calgary Wranglers.
What?
Actually, I guess guy who just wants some ice. You know, he's used to these deep playoff runs in LA and Boston. Last year with Calgary round 2. He ain't done skating. So there he is. There's another picture I think I uploaded.
Sorry, I'm gonna jump in there. Is there? Well, he's on the ice though. My point was to be around the team to learn the ropes as far as coaching and all that shit.
I mean, if he's learning coaching, shouldn't he have the coaching outfit on and a whistle around his neck? It looks like a guy's conditioning, but maybe
if he does that, it signals he's retired. Then he's got to answer all the retirement questions. Yeah. Here's just, no, I'm around the team. I'm just getting to know the guys.
Mm-hmm. I think Milan wants another contract.
I'm sure he does.
But is it a coaching contract or an NHL contract? Yeah. Are you doing a contract?
I'd love give me 1 year.
Can you play league min?
Entry level? I'll play with Walker Duehr.
You got to fight Reeves.
So
I'll grab a hold and then fall down.
Yeah. Swinging down we go. Yeah. You'll have to eat 1 from Reeves. That's it.
Well, it's interesting because I saw he had the full denim tuxedo on again the other day.
Gene Zito, that's a good look.
Yeah.
I like that. Not a lot of guys have the moxie to pull that off.
That's
Milan,
interesting.
absolutely can. Gene Zito for days. So, yeah, didn't expect to see that. Other news, Mangiapane cited at the Dome as well. He's recovering from shoulder surgery. That certainly wouldn't explain all of what was a disappointing season for Mangiapane, but he did have that better second half. Good to see, and hopefully he's ready in the fall to pick up where, last season ended off, or the first half of last season. Something a while ago. Let's get to last night's NHL playoff action. Here are your finals, Rhett. 4 games. And look at this. The road teams continue to do damage. Jersey, back to 2-2. Road teams 4-0 in that series. Toronto, down 4-1. You want to come back 5-4 in overtime. They didn't do it after 20 minutes like the Oilers. They did that with less than 10 and a half minutes left in the third period, down 4-1. Impressive stuff from them. Vegas, you guys were right. Winnipeg's fucking dead. And the nightcap saw Seattle get to overtime against the Avs. We'll start in with some thoughts on, let's go to Tampa. Sound up here, Red. I don't know that Tampa's close to Toronto. In the alphabet, they're not bad. But geometrically speaking, as you once said, listen to all the fans in the building.
Morgan Riley, the game is tied.
They travel well down there.
Tampa, listen, Tampa fans have been to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row. They're not buying they're selling these ones to all the Leafs fans that are going to play for their whole season next year.
Now, did you see Biz Nasty on TNT last night? Because he was on the panel.
No.
And I believe he an Ontario boy. Here we go.
Listen, you're fired up, but you're fired up.
Yeah, I'm fired up, buddy.
You're fired up for a reason, because yesterday I think we all saw that Edmonton could come back.
You guys can take off. You guys can leave.
You didn't believe that Toronto could come back.
They were dead to rights. They looked terrible. The core 4 was non-existent. But what happens sometimes is, when you play that finesse game, you don't look so good, and you look like a dial of... But they turn into a beautiful symphony, a beautiful ballet out there, just crossing and dropping, making plays. The Leafs are back, man. The core 4 has been activated, and they're about to steal another one in Tampa Bay. I don't know what the John Cooper press conference is going to look like, but it ain't going to be pretty. Wait! The boys and Blue are back! Let's go!
Like Biz from shift to
put me in, coach!
From game to game, he's like up.
Roll the clips!
Yeah.
Roll the clips!
How do guys play?
So that was before overtime. He was right. They did steal another in Tampa, and Biz, entertaining guy. I don't know if that's news to anyone, but
he's a lot.
He's very good. That's a good panel they got going. They're better than the other one. The ESPN's rolling out.
Oh yeah,
Eye of the Tiger. Leafs have Eye of the Tiger. The Lightning have lost. They've been training at the high-end gym. They need to go back to Russia or the backwoods and get in some shitty training. Eye of the Tiger. They've lost it. Leafs have it.
It's a Rocky reference over my shoulder, I think, too. That's
what it is.
And maybe. Not quite sure. So Biz was fired up. Let's go to one of the other games. A lot of attention will be paid to this today. This is Cale Makar on Jared McCann. We showed it with Frank. We'll show it again here. Shot on net. Puck goes up and out of play. McCann's like, plays over.
Hear the whistle.
I do too. That's a big part of this. And he gets clunked. Didn't look that bad, but clearly it looks bad when you see McCann going down and leaving the game, ruled out already for game 5, potentially longer. This could be a series ender. And that means Makar, who, best young defenseman on earth, he could be missing a while. He's got a hearing with the league today. Not ideal for the Avs, who were expected to clean the clocks of the Kraken and now are heading back to the Mile High City tied at 2.
I got your point, because Frank kind of said different things, but when it's a major reviewed, minor for interference, and then you've got a hearing, there's a disconnect somewhere.
It's clunky as hell.
Yeah, your point is valid.
And he said it was. It's just that, he just they're two different departments. Sure. Be nice if both departments knew what the fuck was going on here. And we always joke about spinning the wheel of justice with the Department of Player Safety. How you take that from a major to minor, I don't really get either. Odd. Okay. Moving along, did you see the OT winner? Look at these hippies, right? The weed must have worn off, because look how jacked up when Seattle wins this in OT. It was 2-0. Avs get a pair from Rantanen off to overtime. We go first OT game. OT. There's your boy Ebbs.
Zang.
Zang is right. and the building comes to life. Holy number. Let it roll again with the sound. That is.
Is he still somewhere in Calgary? I believe he is.
I think he's got some good old Calgary root. We saw his dad preseason. Stopping by seeing how to Johnny Winter.
Got a place down in Calgary.
There we go. Not golfing yet, Dino. Big goal for Ebbs. Remember when the Oilers lost to Anaheim and that it's like, we got to trade Ebbs. He's not a playoff performer. I think he might have outscored the entire roster since all the Moose.
Yeah, he was probably
tarred and feathered.
Unfairly.
Tarred and feathered.
Yeah. Singled out there. Oh, yeah.
I was talking with Boom before, like just to be like a puppy, like a Kraken fan, and to not have this league break your heart. You haven't been screwed by any calls. No one's stolen a cup. Just
you didn't make it year one, but hey, you know what? You had fun, right?
Team. That's
you went to a bunch of games.
You got cool jerseys. Look at how much fun we're having. And now you got the defending champs in overtime. Bang! Best of 3.
Let's go.
Let's go indeed. And where's Nichushkin? We don't know. We have no idea.
That's still fishy.
That was the final goal of the night, and that snapped an 11-game run for the road teams, Rhett. That's right. 11 in a row. The road team had won in round 1 per Friedman right there. I looked it up this morning. Road teams are 20-12. 20-12 through 32 games. Didn't expect that. Each series has now played 4, and you saw 4-0 for the road teams in that Rangers-Devils series. We saw Edmonton get one on the road of late. It's been an odd spring that way. Huh.
It'll change.
Sure is.
I would suggest that's due for some regression as well, Retro. I'm with you there. Okay, tonight's games. Let's take a peek. Just 3. We've had the 4-game slates the whole way through. The schedule starts to get a little wonky. We already talked about Edmonton and LA's weird thing. They'll play tonight, but not again until Saturday. Well, Boston and Florida, they're not going to play tonight at all. They're off for an extra day before Game 5, where we're expected to see Patrice Bergeron return to the Bruins lineup. Tonight, what's the word we always use? Down 3-1. Islanders are? They're not penultimating. They are not.
They're looking to stave.
They're staving. That's right.
Oh, they are looking to stave.
They're slaving over a hot stave. Let's go.
Staving off that elimination.
That's right.
That
Stave
facing.
Away, boys.
I'm staving away. Fucking beat it, Islanders. You shouldn't have been in there. I told you. They're fucking boring. They're going to be a waste. Get Pittsburgh or get Buffalo or get somebody else in there, and they have been a snore fest. Carolina, get them out, rest up, and move on.
That's back in Raleigh. Back in Dallas, tied at 2. This has been feisty. Stars and Wild. We'll see with the best of 3, I guess, essentially opening in Dallas tonight, how that one looks. And it's Kings and Oilers who did the improbable. Down 3-0. They come back and win that thing 5-4 in overtime 2 nights ago. Back to the cultural capital. Sweat Hogs will be fired up. Don't throw shit on the ice if your team loses. What's wrong there? They didn't throw when they won, right?
Who's going to be fired up?
I love it.
Right.
Yeah. Let's go to non-hockey, shall we, Red? Check out this cat. Oh, no, sorry. So this is good. This was Game 3 in L.A., so welcoming the Oilers to L.A., a scene setter. We're off from in Edmonton into L.A. Watch the intro before Game 3 for the Kings fans. You can only do this in Hollywood. Kind of cool.
Has done some stuff for them
forever
over the years. Yeah.
A lot of Cartman. Anytime I've been to a Kings game, there's always some South Park up there. And so what does Edmonton do to respond? What's the big...
Well, I hope that they're looking to kill Kenny Holland. Watch yourself.
Jesus, careful indeed.
God damn it, tease the fees.
To baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays don't have any interest in losing baseball games. Still, Dean. It was cute for a week, and now a month in, it's getting fucking scary for every other team in the majors. Even look at this play here. This is Wander Franco, their star who graduated last year.
Yeah.
He's playing shortstop and somehow is going to make a play out in left field. A little flare down the line.
Look at this.
Wander's
donkey.
covering ground. And, you know what?
Oh,
Just use my bare hand.
quick feet.
He's almost
That's
at
quick
that
feet.
fucking pole. He's at the foul pole.
My line's bad. I've overrun. I've done, just kind of.
Holy.
I can't even like scratch the back of my head with my friggin' shoulder.
Watch
He's
the
going.
replay.
Yeah.
So this is essentially over his shoulder. This is a great angle of it.
I can't put my
Full
arm up
speed. Oh,
behind
are
my
you
car
kidding
seat to
me?
back up.
Yeah, pulling the seatbelt.
Can't turn my friggin'
Can't
neck
get the
in this, dude.
seatbelt.
Ah, seatbelt. Ah.
He's lucky he didn't fall, or that'd really hurt.
So confirmed, Wander Franco, better athlete than Boomer.
Well, and the Rays better than everyone else in
It's-
baseball still. We joked about it when the preseason odds came out, who was going to win the AL East, and they were like plus 400. It's like, look, Yankees and Jays might be good, but don't ever fucking bet against the Rays. They're never going to be bad.
Stupid Rays.
We should have all the respect in the world for them.
Mhm.
No one does more with less.
Not even close.
But it's almost like they're a team that spends to the like into the luxury. We're tired of you already. Quit buying these teams. Quit doing so much homework.
These
And
damn nerds are better than our nerds.
Quit being so smart. No one likes a smart ass. Stop it.
All right. Big weekend coming up in Calgary. Home opener for Cavalry FC. CPL side. Good start to the season. Couple draws on the road in hostile territory. They're coming home. Rhett, I know what you're thinking. It's the end of April in Calgary. What are we going to get for weather? Even better news. Look at this. Sunday, 23 degrees, little bit of a breeze, no rain, and a glorious 3 p.m. kickoff for the Cavs. Your chance to win. Keep an eye on the socials. We're going to this little video. Tag a pal you want to bring. Maybe a first timer, maybe you're a first timer. Hey, I keep hearing things about the soccer team. We'll announce our winner Thursday with Kerr or Wednesday with you. That'd be tomorrow, probably Thursday. A couple days, let this thing go. And we'll get you out there Sunday for the home opener, Cavalry FC.
If you've never been, it's one of the best sporting atmospheres in our city by far.
It's entirely unique and unlike anything else. If you had to compare it to something, I don't know what I would say about any other thing in town.
And you're out of town, so Pinder won't be there to, spill things on you and ruin your day potentially.
That's right.
This is the game to be at.
The beer lines will have one less person in them.
That's right.
So go get it, Cavs, this weekend in the season opener. Finally, we've got, again, more leaked video from Buffalo, which is interesting. But first, now, when did you and the shoveler, your honeymoon, did you go to Japan? Is that right?
Our honeymoon hasn't ended. We're still
okay.
It's love
still
birds
living in bliss. Well, somehow Rhett, with all his connections, because I think he played in some like U16, U17 thing in Japan. Remember, he found the beer in the vending machines when he was underage. Mm-hmm. Well, he got the shoveler through some connections in Japan to throw out first pitch at this game.
Really?
You won't believe it. Yeah, and I didn't know she looked so much like Mariah Carey. This is unbelievable. It's like a triple hopper.
The shoveler was a ball player. She would whip it across the plate.
Well, but do she underhand or overhand?
She's a collegiate ball player.
Underhand. Yeah.
Her game has gone to shit.
And apparently that was 08, I'm being told. That it must have been, off season for you guys. Great stuff. Love that top. Okay, moving along. Rhett, you're back in Buffalo. I'm told you're driving a black truck, and look at this asshole park job he does. Like, let's take a peek at this. 4 stalls, all with one truck.
He thinks he owns the place, right? Wherever he goes, it's his world. We're just living in it. It's really unfortunate.
And so bad parking his truck disrespectfully. And I understand why he might have been in a bad mood because, more of a cat guy than a dog guy. We know that. His cat got this is just oh no.
Oh, what is this?
Look at all the places you're gonna go. You're as white as virgin snow, and you're gonna go sit in the mud puddle. I'm sorry, Rhett. That would have been a tough cleanup there. Or just don't come back for a week, cat. Go bathe in the river.
You love cats, eh?
Yeah. What about this parking thing? I don't get it. If I was going to park a truck rudely, it would be from Surge or someone in Calgary. I would take care of it. My own vehicles, I don't care about. I would never park rudely.
We'll have the picture for you later on.
Okay, that was a tough pivot there. I know you tried. You tried hard there, but
I had it yesterday, and then
next.
That's your Pinder report. What a way to finish.
I barely noticed.
Yeah, me too. That's the good thing about it.
Pinder report, proudly sponsored by Village Honda. They have their poop in a group far more than the Pinder report.
Fuck. God damn it.
Get your piece of the $1 million buy-in event. Get cash for your vehicle. Village Honda pays top dollar, and they will throw in a tropical cruise to boot. Do you hear what we're saying? They're looking for used vehicles. They want to buy your used vehicle, top dollar, and a tropical cruise on top of it all. See more online at villagehonda.com or go visit in the Northwest Auto Mall. Your dealership for life. I'm sure it was great. 4 spots.
It's not.
Come on,
it's not your fault.
You better. Come on, Rhett. Where are you going in? Is that some Dollarama? What are you doing?
Something motion pictures there, I see.
Oh, I see.
He was just going for popcorn, though. He wasn't that hungry. You saw that video yesterday.
Yeah. That's like the truck that you sold on the radio.
That is a little bit jacked up.
Yeah, a little similar.
You ever seen Pete chasing this one around too, or
should have kept that?
Now that I ran my mouth off, I've got a thing coming up here, and hopefully all of my stuff works. I did get a text partway through the Pinder report saying, "Oh yeah, not all your stuff's in there." So hopefully this is going to work. I don't know if it's going to be a new segment, but I think it might be.
Okay.
And it was interesting when Rhett started the show today. He used the word and kind of referenced. And it's like, did he know this was coming? Is this you and me, our heads? Like, are we
like twins?
Is our chemistry running so deep that you knew what I was thinking before I was thinking it, or while I was thinking it? Well, get ready, because this is a segment, and I don't know if it's going to be every week.
Okay.
Balls. This is balls. And I'm going to tell you who's got balls.
Oh, okay.
You know who's got balls?
Who's got balls, Dean?
Leon Draisaitl. I hate to admit it, but the guy's got balls. We threw it out there the other day. He's been on for every goal.
Every goal.
They haven't scored a goal. Go ahead, Alex. Just roll these. They haven't scored 5-on-5 without him factoring in on the goals. They're down 3-0. Then it's 3-1. Then it's 3-2. Then it's 3-3.
He's in on all these goals. Yeah.
McDavid has been good, but he has been the guy.
He's been their leader.
You know what he's got?
Balls.
He's got balls.
He's got balls, Rhett.
Great
Leon's
balls.
got balls.
Well, and to be fair, Rhett has been raving about his balls well before this became the cool thing to do. He was saying it might be better.
And they're German
Couple
balls,
years ago,
or whatever that's worth. So I don't know if you get extra points for that, but Leon's got balls. You know who else has balls?
Okay. I don't.
And we actually saw the clip earlier. Jordan Eberle.
Jordan Ebb's got some stones.
Jordan Eberle has got some balls. You go back, we all remember World Junior Hockey Championship. Big game against the Russians. Scores to tie the game.
How much time left?
Not much, Ryan.
Like seconds.
Jordan Eberle scores. Canadian pride. Our hearts busting right out of our chests. You go to 2020.
Yeah.
It's the old COVID thing. In overtime, double OT, Jordan Eberle scores. Balls.
Balls cool.
Against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then, as you mentioned, last night, the Seattle Kraken, their second playoff home game. They get their first win. They get it in overtime. And who else?
Right back to him.
Jordan Eberle. Retro. Eberle's got balls.
Yeah. He's an
Balls.
Alberta boy, isn't he? Of course he does.
Regina.
Yeah, of course.
Regina, then, yeah.
Lives
You know
in
who
Alberta
else has
now.
got balls?
You got more balls. I'm afraid to guess now. It could be anyone.
This one, it might come from left field. You know who's got balls?
Franco, left field?
Akira Schmid.
Oh, Schmid, yeah.
Akira Schmid,
yeah.
the New Jersey goaltender. So the Rangers run roughshod in games 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Over the New Jersey Devils.
Just eviscerated Vanacek.
And Vanacek.
Yeah.
First 2 games, 10-2 goals goals for the Rangers. Outscored the Devils 10-2. Power play 4 for 10. Games 3 and 4, Akira Schmid takes over in net, gives up 2 goals. 1 in game 3, 1 in game 4, nothing on the power play, and there you see it. Akira Schmid, balls.
Covers the 5-hole, that'd help.
And you know who else has got balls?
Who else got balls, Dean?
You said it right off the start, Rhett, and you even said balls. The Toronto Maple Leafs. You cannot, and again, is it a collapse? You got it, much like with the Oilers. The Oilers came back. These guys have been raked. Here in the Oilers, sometimes they, it's
not
what are you going to do? It's not the same.
7 first-round exits in a row.
Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Riley, all those guys have been absolutely dragged by the fan base and the media. Last night, Matthews 2 goals, Marner assists on the 2 in the third period, Nylander 3 assists.
Riley ties it,
and then they win it to go up 3-1. Retro, you said it. Leafs have got balls.
That second of the 5 goals they score on the night is the one that starts the rally. That's Austin Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
How casually he tips a puck 1.5 feet off the ice into a perfect spot in the net. It's a very, very unique skill set. I don't know how many guys can get a stick on that. Never mind, like he's just skating by. Yeah, got it. Not bad.
And all their, we rattled off the names there. All their guys are the guys that are doing it for them.
Their guys are their guys. That's what you needed if this was ever going to happen for them.
Yeah, they get, Kerfoot gets the winner, and there's been some, Matthew Nyes saves a goal or whatever.
Nyes looked good last night.
He did look all right. But you go to Marner has 10 points in the 4 games.
I think he's leading the league in assists in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's bananas. Yeah. Matthews, 7 points, 3 goals, 7 points for O'Reilly, 7 points for Nylander, 6 for Riley, who scores the overtime winner 2 games ago,
and then ties it
last night.
Yeah,
that's all their guys.
Tavares 3 goals, not bad through 4 games.
Balls.
And it is, I think Sheldon Keefe spoke about it post-game. Like, this team has lacked killer instinct. And like you certainly cannot debate the last 7 years when there have been big moments where they could win a series, they have not been able to do it. But to suggest that's a thing that you either have or you don't, that's where I think this series is a good reminder. Tampa Bay Lightning is a very similar crew to the one that went to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row and had all the killer instinct. All of a sudden, the group that can never get it done, you can't win with these guys, and these perennial winners, it's just going the other way. And I think part of that is just having to deal with all that fucking emotion of losing all those series and how much more you would want something. All of a sudden, they look like killers. The same group that, like, all the same guys, that core 4 and more. You can't win with these guys. That was sort of the school of thought, and these are the guys that might be putting the end to a pretty impressive, near decade-long run of the Lightning.
Yeah, and now it is just winning a playoffs. Like, it's not lost on me.
Yeah,
but that has been their cross to bear for so long.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It has been different. We always love to take runs at the Leafs, but maybe it's just showing my age. But it was that Corson, Tucker, although I did like Tucker because, Western League, sorry. But they just had guys, it was far easier to dislike them. I don't know. I got no reason to dislike Marner, highly skilled. Nylander doesn't say a word. Austin Matthews scores goals. They're a bit of an easier team to like. I think it's the media and that whole thing that we still can't stand.
And they're softer on the scale at times. But I think, that group's done a better job of playing meaner, tougher, and through more stuff than they have in years past. And I think also a lot of it was, hey, there's this 30-year-old GM. Screw that. He knows analytics. Screw him. Like, they had that too. It's the biggest market in the world. They break a pane of glass in training camp. It's a national story. A lot of the issues this group's faced is just virtue of being in Toronto.
Now, there are two things, and unlike anything else, but there are two things that will make your balls shrink. Steroids, allegedly, and blowing a 3-1 series lead to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
This is, if you really want to be peak Leafs, blow this.
Right?
lead.
Like this is
yeah.
They are set up. Again, 3-0 would be worse, I guess.
Yeah, it's the only thing worse, Dean. And it wasn't like Tampa didn't outplay them the last two games. For most of the last two games, they kind of did.
Like, I like, it's schadenfreude. We love taking pleasure in other people's misfortunes. I don't know. There would be so much collateral damage if they lose this series now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'd be fascinating to watch and interesting. I don't know. Have they not suffered enough, Rhett? Have they not suffered enough?
I think they have. I do not see them blowing this series. Now, I think that's what's been fun about the way they've struggled in the past. You go back to the Phaneuf era when they were playing Boston, they were up 3 and they blew it. Like, it's the epic collapses that they've allowed to happen that has made the story so interesting. But I don't see it this year. I think they're moving on, and they are easier to like. I don't like them, and it's because of what Pinder said and what everyone said, because of the media and the fans and the extra attention. Because if one guy has a hangnail, it's national news, right? Like, that's what people don't like about the Leafs. This team is not hard to like. There's a lot of talented players there.
And
they're going to move on.
We are a podcast. We're not a breaking news outlet by any means.
That next series, by the way, will be a dandy. Toronto-Boston. Yeah. History there, right in the scar tissue.
But a couple of things that have happened while we've been doing the show.
Busy show today. Apparently.
It is a 1-game suspension for Cale Makar. So 3 for Bunting, and 1 for Makar. One's a superstar, one's not. I don't know.
I don't know that factors in that much in this instance. They both had clean track records. The Bunting one felt especially dirty. And this one, you could sort of sympathize with Makar maybe thinking that puck's coming back into play. There was no excuse for the Bunting at all. You can kind of squint and give Makar a chance here, no?
I don't know.
I'm still shocked at
I need to hear
how
whistle,
I'm still shocked at how injured McCann is.
Yeah, his head must have got conked at just the wrong angle, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
And there again, he's probably not expecting. Which is why I wonder if he's heard the whistle or he sees that the puck's gone up and into the net, and he just kind of, shoulders come down and you exhale and then you get clobbered.
Either way, it's 1 game for Makar, and by the sounds of it, it's at least 1 for McCann, but most likely more than 1.
So there you go.
Oddly enough, advantage Avs in that instance.
The other thing that's come up, and just kind of following along on social media, there are numerous reports of a press conference being held in Calgary today. A news conference on the Arena project will be held at 3:30 this afternoon, featuring city officials, the head of Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corp, and the Premier, Danielle Smith. Sounds like they have a deal. That, according to Scott Dipple from CBC News. Based on the council vote coming out of the closed session, there will be a public announcement of some sort regarding the arena, and based on the tone, it does not sound like it's a bad news announcement.
It's a rink for sure. And all the people that know City Hall well have said this is the track we've been on for a while. What's important is that they get this thing done before council breaks for a long summer holiday, and that will allow this thing to not be picked up and then agree in the fall, but that we can get shovels in the ground potentially as soon as before 2024 clicks.
And Ryan Pike of Flames Nation, he's been
phenomenal. No one's better on the arena file than Pike. The only thing I know about all this is following what Pike writes and tweets on the topic. He's been superb.
Yeah. So there you have it.
It's coming.
The mayor, Councillor Sharp, Premier.
3:30 Mountain, and the Premier as well as so there's the group that is building it. They have 2 people and a lawyer that showed up for the council meeting today, which was a greater entourage than they normally had for similar meetings. So there was a few eyebrows raised this morning. This could be close. And there's your announcement this afternoon.
And Calgary Stampede CEO expected to be there. So there you go, Retro, getting a rink.
Finally. Good.
How long does it take?
You think back to when the Flames, when the Flames first came out with that plan for that big thing.
Calgary next.
What? Yeah, the next. That's right. That's what it was called.
Mhm.
That is a long time ago.
And long before that, it was first uttered by Ken King, I believe, in the offseason following 2004. Pike had that, the first public mention of a new facility. So this is a near 20-year journey to get to the point where an agreement for a second time has been in place.
These things take time, guys.
A lot of time, apparently. Now, what did they say in Atlanta, Georgia? They're hoping that there was Kevin Weeks said something a week ago, and they think that could be done in 2027.
Something like that.
That's different places, different politics.
Mad Rose Pub,
What do you-
15 Royal
yeah.
Vista Place, when a Canadian team is playing.
Yep.
So Winnipeg, Edmonton,
Yep.
Toronto.
Carolina. Toronto.
They have the game on the speakers
Love it.
in the pub.
That's how it should be.
Canadian teams only, but again, and I'm sure it
As we move
depends, you know,
along,
if a bunch of Golden Knight fans go in, maybe you can coerce the serving staff. But they have turned things up. The outdoor the new patio, the outdoor patio.
Yes.
They've always had specials on game days and whatnot. 15 Royal Vista Place, 20 beers on tap, kid-friendly Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. People are talking about Mad Rose. I have a lot of people, the guys that we were at Launchpad, they're like, oh, maybe we'll see if we can swing by
We're
Mad
out of
Rose on
town.
the way home. Full entrees. It's just some of the best pizzas in the city. Gourmet dough and signature sauce made fresh every day. You can order on their website, have it delivered, madrose.pub. But it's an experience. Great people in there. Retro, you and I were in there, a couple weeks ago. And it was just a steady stream of people coming up saying, hey, guys, loving the show, loving the podcast. I love it.
Well, in this arena news, when's Rhett back? They got to be a statue of him somewhere. I mean, when you're back, we're back to Mad Rose. I've missed that pie already.
Now, I'm going to tie this next video in with Mad Rose. And by all means, be responsible, right? But you can go up there, you can have some drinks, have a great time. I'm not sure what they were serving at the game last night in Tampa.
This guy's macro dosing. That's all I know.
But take a look at this guy here. He's on his phone, and I don't know. Again, macro dosing. Go ahead, Alex. And is it? He's overserved. Something.
It was 4-1. He starts it yelling. It was 4-1. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, the zoomies are hitting now. Yes.
It's some Patton Oswalt
Joe
lookalike
Leafs.
in a
Yeah.
Leafs jersey, and he's just screaming his head off. He is
Oh, now he's
so
gonna do it again.
excited.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
I don't know how those guys are hanging out with this guy. And then look at this.
Oh, wow.
It's Rhett and the
Jesus.
Shoveler.
Oh, retro.
Rhett and the
How
Shoveler.
could you?
Wait, baby. Hey, like,
Oh,
you guys had too much. I hope you Ubered home.
God.
that's a Lightning jersey. That Leafs
trying to get in
fan's
there.
making a move.
Oh,
Oh,
My
baby.
goodness.
We're
be
creeps,
responsible.
right? We're
Yeah.
creeps. Yeah.
I do love the drunken public showing of affection.
Yeah.
Where were we? Or you had the video of the
Oh, yeah.
which I still think we could show.
No.
Damn it.
Not even close. Yeah, some 60-year-old's face sucking at the bar. Just wow.
I love drunk
Karaoke in the background
Yeah.
and just like, woof.
drunk adults. Like
Yeah.
not kids. They're
You
adults.
see what she's saying? I'm a Lightning fan. I can't
I'm
be
a
seen kissing
Lightning
you,
fan.
Austin. That's Austin Matthews postgame.
Hey, listen, babe. Babe, it's only 3-1. Leafs shit these kind of leads away all the time, babe.
And the old man losing the delusional old man. I love at the very beginning. I think you can lip read him saying, it was 4-1, which is going to be the
Yeah.
classic catchphrase should they escape
Either
from the
way.
series. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Either way. So there you go. Want to mention Jasper Travel. We've been telling you about all that's going on up at Jasper. It continues. It's not going away. Spring skiing until May 1st. So you got some time to get in on that. At Marmot Basin, the escape card, which gets you half-price lift tickets, has been in effect all season and will go right through until the 1st. The brand new, the terrain that they opened a few weeks ago, Marmot Basin Cirque. Bowls and shoots. Bowls and shoots.
Not just
Never
420.
before accessible to the public. And of course, with summer right around the corner, golf course will be opening in about a month. Lakes are thawed or thawing. Get your rafting going, your kayaking, your canoeing, your camping. front country, back country. The Sky Tram is open. Go online and check it out. Jasper Travel, venture beyond a beautiful part of our world that is not as far as you think. Beautiful drive. We've made that drive. Unbelievable drive.
Yeah, 93 North, the Icefields Parkway. Man.
Love it. Love it. Betway Bets, and then we get out of here.
Sure.
You get out. You for sure get out of here. Did you know this, Rhett? We're done with Pinder for a bit.
It's been fun working with you, and best of luck in future endeavors.
Got to go get the HIV taken care of. Yeah. Shots or salve?
We will definitely be doing shots of tequila.
Yeah.
So we've got a family wedding to attend in the tropics. Very excited. All of a sudden, creeping up on us.
Betway Bets of the day. Get the Betway app on your phone. Play along at home. I'm going with the pre-made Betway Boost right in the front page.
Tell me about it.
There. The Betway Boost. Oilers, Stars, and Hurricanes.
Home team, home team, home team.
All win plus 350.
Woo! All pretty significant favorites, I'd suggest as well.
Dig it.
Oh, look what you did as well. Sweet Jesus.
Kings at Edmonton. McDavid has been eerily quiet.
Yeah, only a point and a half per game.
Like
right?
only 3 points last game. But he has yet to really have a McDavid-esque. I mean, he scored 2 goals, I guess. I just feel like he's still going to break through. McDavid, 3 or more points, plus 130.
Yeesh.
I wonder if this could be one of those legendary nights where it's...
This is how good he is. It's only plus 130.
Yeah. I went to
What?
2.
Wow.
I went to 2 plus points. It wasn't even money.
No.
Like, geez, well, okay.
Minus 150.
Let's throw another point in there. Those are my Betway bets.
All right. I'm kind of got similar vibes to you. I got the Draisaitl staying hot. He's going to score. I also think, it might be a tough night for the Wild, but Kirill Kaprizov, this guy's just a goal scorer. They both score plus 300. And Rope Hintz, 2+ points. It pays plus 250. We hit a 2-pointer last night with Nylander. We'll try it again with Hintz, who has been great for the Stars. He's got 4 or 5 goals already. Oh boy, yeah. Boy, Rope. Betway Bets today.
There you go. Play along. Be responsible. Be 19, but enjoy yourself.
You're already watching the damn games. May as well make it a little more fun.
Have some fun.
Throw a toonie on it. Let's go. Had a buddy jump on the Leafs down 4-1 last night. 10-1.
No kidding.
25 to 250.
Wow.
Happens quick.
I wouldn't. When it was 4-1, I had no thought of even bet. It was just like, this is going to be.
Yeah. The only question I would have at 4-1 is how big is the number right now? Not that it was going to, 12, that's a good number. I'm not going to win it, but that's good odds.
As you said before the show, the Oilers' impressive comeback. There's not to take anything away from it, but it was 3-0 in the first. This was
switched goalies at the intermission.
Right?
This is 10 and a half minutes left in the third, down 3.
Yeah, it was halfway through the third. Exactly. That was the one for me. It's like, come on, Vasilevsky, you're not going to stop one?
You had 1 save. That's all I needed.
Were you happy to see Gio with that?
No, because he wants Gio to play
wrister
next year.
Hey,
I don't want Gio
memory
out of the
lane. Did you get
game.
nostalgic seeing Gio? Usually it was the other point, but
I think that's awesome.
hard wrister.
Listen, Gio has been in the game a long time and never had any playoff success or that's got to be the biggest moment of his career. Does it not?
I mean, if they close out the series, yeah. And look, like it's putting them on a collision course to really slay some dragons in round 2. Now, Boston fucking good.
Because he was out the year
2014
that they beat the Canucks in round 1,
he had,
right?
It was the day before the deadline. He had that weird bicep sholdder thing happen, and then he tried to take a skate and wasn't shooting it, and then they claimed the Schlumcat off waivers. It was a no bueno.
That was some good subterfuge there. Oh, gee. Hey, Giordano's out
Might
for
be
maybe the
okay.
Flames aren't desperate for a defenseman.
Look at he's taking warm up. He's fine.
He must be close.
And then they were 1 seeds in 2019. They lose to Colorado. They got swept by the Ducks somewhere in the middle there. And he wasn't here last year when they got to the second round. So if he gets through, that'll be his first time playing
Is that
in the
true?
second round.
Has he never been to round 2?
Dude.
No, man. He's hardly played a playoff game.
I mean, that's a little bit exaggerating to make a point. But yeah, he would be less than 20 games.
It's not
played.
exaggerating to make a point. If you play 1,000 NHL games and you've played 20 playoff games, that's not very
Played
many.
10 games in 1920.
That would have been, how's that possible?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
220.
Would they include the Winnipeg play-in?
Oh, and they shouldn't.
No.
Yes, that's exactly what it would
That's
be.
not.
Yeah, because they beat Winnipeg in 4 and then
4, I
lost in
think.
6 to Dallas.
Yeah.
That's 6 games.
Yeah,
Sorry, playing no.
That's 6.
So take away the 11 he's had as a Leaf.
Yeah,
Uh,
7 last year, 4 this year.
So 34 all told, 34 playoff games, 1 goal, 10 assists.
It's more than I thought, but again, that playing round shouldn't count.
Yeah, so then you take the 11 away with Toronto and take 3 away
So
from
it's
the play-in
50
round. So
yeah, he's under 20.
Yeah.
So you get rid of Toronto
Anyway,
and the playing round.
and it's not it's a shot, but it's also the truth. Like, he hasn't had playoff fun. So this
That's why
has
you're
to be
happy for him. I
amazing.
get it. Yeah.
So that is absolutely his to assist on an overtime winner like that. It's absolutely.
Well, and to be up 3-1 and put yourself in a
career.
position rather than, oh, this is a long series, we're coming home, but like we're a win away, boys.
Yeah.
That's big.
Look at us. Are we getting on the friggin' bandwagon?
Nope.
Are we
Maybe.
getting on the Leaf train?
I don't know. There's
There's
a lot of things there. Like, here's the thing. Even though there's parts about it that you could like, it's only going to get more annoying. That's my one guarantee. With each round, this gets more and more annoying, and
You know what you need
the
to do?
things that drive us nuts are only going to be more of them around.
I need Rhett to stay off CNN and Fox.
Okay.
I need you just to stay
Well, I
off
can't-
TSN and Sportsnet.
I can't
Just
watch
stay away
CNN
from all the media coverage because it's the media coverage that gets you all rankled up.
Yeah,
and same with
intermissions,
you.
gotta mute them.
How's it
They
going?
can- They
How are they
can
doing?
Don Lemon and Tucker. I can't watch CNN or Fox.
How are
Those
the
are your
in-laws
boys, eh?
handling the
Oh,
Tucker
wow.
news?
Oh, very upset.
Is mother-in-law wearing black today? Is the flag at half staff today? Gosh, tough day. Have a good time on your trip.
Thank you.
Share some
High kicks.
drunken high kick videos along the way.
Yeah.
Let's have
I know
a
it's your
little
personal
party.
time, and I don't want to invade.
No, I'd love to. Yeah, it's going to be the first time for a lot of people to see these high kicks,
will
and
be.
I don't think I've high kicked in Mexico for years.
Yeah.
So
And to be the man, you got to beat the man. So if anybody starts getting all cocky about their high kicking prowess,
this
then
wedding they're in their late 20s, so there's going to be some young bucks
Ooh.
trying to.
Challenge?
Huh?
It's going to be a challenge.
yeah.
You won't be able to keep up.
And
No street
Retro and I will
meat.
be back tomorrow.
No street meat, Rhett. Yes, thank you. You can't teach someone their own life lessons. You have to let them
Live and
stumble
learn.
around and learn their own. And Rhett advised me multiple times not to eat the street meat that night. And I spent the next 3 days sitting about the poor decision I'd made on the
so
toilet.
much, and
Yeah.
so much hot sauce.
A lot of hot
much
sauce that
hot
night.
sauce.
Yeah.
Doubled down.
So then we went to the place that wasn't street. We went to the good
really
place,
good place, yeah.
and you still.
Buried a lot of hot sauce.
My God.
Good God, man.
That's our show for today, everybody. We appreciate you. Support the sponsors. Subscribe and like. Jack, what's the story?
Yeah,
with
what's
our,
their story on the YouTube subscription?
What's the story on the?
How many do we need? We're
He's not even-
close.
He's listening to Mariah Carey or something.
Oh,
What's-
yeah. Shoveler singing?
We
4,003
topped the 4,000
subscribers.
mark. We
Love
topped
it.
the 4,000
Let's
mark.
make it
on
5.
Our,
Let's go.
on the YouTube.
If you're not subscribing on YouTube, do that for us. would you?
Subscribe and like.
Thank you.
Appreciate you,
Oilers
buddies.
suck.
See you tomorrow. Oilers suck. Bye.